Hello, welcome to our Accessibility 101 series. This short video will serve as an introduction to accessibility. So the first question we may have is, what is accessibility? And accessibility is the inclusive practice of removing barriers that prevent people with disabilities from doing what they need to do. And those people with disabilities may rely on assistive technologies. Perhaps they're using a screen reader or a modified keyboard, mouse, any speech recognition technologies. And the most common could be captions or transcripts, and we see those very often. Overall, accessibility is an ongoing process of working towards including people in more meaningful ways, meaning that it's not just a one-time situation, that we are constantly evolving and making our products accessible. So why is accessibility important? So accessible content benefits not only those people with disabilities, but if we have users on our websites or anyone accessing our content that may have different learning preferences, and also our English language learners or those that may have English as a second language. And providing ways to make our content more accessible can really benefit all people and allow equal access and equitable experiences. Along with accessibility being helpful for all, there are also guidelines and standards that require our technologies and services to be accessible. We have Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act for electronic communications and information technologies, and this can include websites, email, web documents to be accessible. For video content, it also requires closed captions as a specific requirement. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, that protects the civil rights of people with disabilities, and it requires all federal entities and organizations that receive federal funding to make those accommodations for equal access, and that also includes closed captioning. And then, of course, there's the Americans with Disabilities Act. That's a very popular one that oftentimes people recognize, and that prohibits disability discrimination by places of public accommodation, including universities such as Wayne State. In a note on language, when talking about somebody with a disability, you may hear person first. So a person with a disability, a person who is blind, for instance. And that's maybe how they identify. I'm a person who's blind. And then there may be a person who will identify and use their identity first. So a blind person and say, I am a blind person. And it's really important to remember how somebody identifies and use that moving forward. And it'll help to show some respect and build community with the person or persons that may have a disability. 56.7 million Americans have reported having some form of disability. That is quite a significant number. Around 15% of the world's population has some form of disability. In the United States, it's even more, and this is just what's reported. Many people may have a disability that they don't even know, or they just don't report it. So this is only the number that is reported. There are various types of disabilities, and it can range from cerebral palsy, epilepsy, to being hard of hearing, completely deaf, maybe partially deaf, having complete blindness or low vision, color blindness even. There's auditory processing disorders, dyslexia, for instance, and also a lot of invisible disabilities such as depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, autism. Those are all different types of disabilities. It's also important to remember that disabilities are not always permanent. Of course, we may interact with somebody that has one arm, and that is a permanent disability. We may interact with a person that is healing from a broken arm and they have their arm in a sling. They may need a temporary accommodation or rely on an assistive technology for a short period of time. There's also situations in which a person may be impaired, such as a new parent holding their baby, feeding their baby. That is situational. So remembering that disabilities are not always permanent and there may be accommodations in place for just a short period of time. When creating content, there are 4 guiding principles perceivable, operable, understandable, robust. Together, they create the P.O.U.R acronym. The first is perceivable. We often see perceivable content having text alternatives, time-based media like captions, transcripts, making sure that it's adaptable and distinguishable. The next principle is operable. So this includes making sure that our web pages are keyboard accessible, that a user can tab, select content using a keyboard. If the page form is time sensitive, that they have enough time to fill out the page before it times out, ensuring that our content does not flash or as a way to cause any seizures or physical reactions. Overall, making sure that our site is navigable and different input modalities can access the page. The next principle is understandable. So ensuring that our content is easy to read or comprehend, that we're using words that are easy to understand, that the navigation of a page is predictable and doesn't shift when a user then clicks on another page. And the next and last principle of the P.O.U.R acronym is robust. And this simply means that ensuring that a user can use different ways to access the material and there's compatibility amongst all user agents. We do have some quick tips, and there will be more videos based on these quick tips. Ensuring that meaningful alt text content is provided for selected images and that characteristics aren't being relied upon to convey information. There's meaningful page titles and helpful error messages that are carefully crafted to help describe the content and what is going on. And that, of course, there's meaningful link text to convey the link's purpose and destination. Thank you for joining us.